Please rise and welcome our students, alumni, board of directors, and this year's esteemed graduates as they accompany Yeshivat Maharat's Sefer Torah, generously donated by Tova Reich and dedicated earlier this evening.
Hashem besimcha, yivdu et Hashem besimcha. Lefana virlana. Yivdu et Hashem besimcha, yivdu et Hashem besimcha. Bo lefana virlana, lefana virlana. Na 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 Hashem besimcha, yivdu et Hashem besimcha. Bo lefanav birnana, lefanav birnana. Yivdu et Hashem besimcha, yivdu et Hashem besimcha. Bo lefanav birnana, lefanav birnana. Na 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 na.
You can now be seated again. There are plenty of seats all the way up in the front of the sanctuary, and there are seats for the students and for the graduates and the board. Rabbis, Rabbot, Maharat, Rabbaniot, esteemed supporters and friends, it is once again my honor and privilege to welcome you all to Yeshivat Maharat's 7th ordination ceremony. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Abigail Tambor, and I am the chair of the board of Maharat and a longtime MC of our graduation ceremony. In my sincere dedication to paring down the speaking at this event to the minimum possible, I agreed to take on the chair, thereby ensuring that my words at graduation would serve a twofold purpose, cutting down the speeches by one. You're welcome. In all seriousness, my purpose here tonight is simple. I am not here to provide words of Torah. Those will come in abundance from others way more qualified than I. I am not here to charge our graduates, of whom we are all so proud, for that will be the job of my colleague and friend, Zelda Stern. And no one will do it better than she. And I, therefore, am here to tell you about the state of our union and to let you know that our little yeshiva is going very strong. After tonight, we will have 34 women working out in the field with Orthodox ordination. They are teachers, pastoral leaders, chaplains, and entrepreneurs. They are reaching more and more people every day and sharing their Torah with the world. Every year we celebrate with awe and gratitude as the multitude, the revava that we envisioned becomes more of a reality. I am thrilled to report that the yeshiva is also on strong financial and organizational ground. With many thanks to my predecessor, Ariel Groveman-Wiener, and her extraordinary work with Rabbi Sarah, we have continued to secure new institutional funding for our programs and transition our loyal donor base to multi-year giving, helping us think creatively and constructively about our programming and our future. We are extremely gratified by our most recent grants from the Jim Joseph Foundation and the estate of Hilda and Seymour Kessler and their faith in our vision. We envisioned our annual campaign this year, launching our Rivava campaign with great success. We continue to work towards better systems of recruitment and community engagement, letting people out there know that we are here, what we do, and about our vision of an orthodoxy that is inclusive, warm, and inviting. One that welcomes Torah others, one that welcomes anyone who has Torah to share and a desire to live a life steeped in our multifaceted tradition. We have succeeded in putting women's leadership on the agenda. It is now a focal point of the communal conversation. Where this conversation will lead is still yet to be determined. That we have strong partners in YCT, the IRF, Hillel, and so many schools and synagogues across the country and the world makes our work feel all the more fitting and right. We are moving towards a more righteous and just communal leadership structure. I also want to take this opportunity to wish a hearty mazel tov to the latest group of musmachim from YCT, our newest partners and longtime friends who just received their ordination last week. Mazal tov. And my last job here tonight is to introduce someone who truly needs no introduction, certainly not within these walls. Please join me in welcoming Rabbi Sarah Hurwitz, my rabbah, my partner, my friend, and tireless and fearless leader.
Thank you, Abigail. It's been a pleasure and an honor to work with you. This has been the year of Hagbah, of lifting up the Torah. Last year, I announced the inauguration of Maharat's synagogue skills class in honor of past board chair Ariel Groveman-Wiener, taught by the talented Rabbi Wendy Amsalem. Rabbi Wendy took our students through the halachic source material for the many rituals we perform in synagogues, like receiving aliyot, gabaying, and Hagbah. Then using the Sefer Torah that we just officially welcomed into our space, gifted to us by Tova Reich. And please read the story of our Torah in your programs on your seats, of course, under the stewardship with Rav Avi. We practiced those skills. You see, it's our philosophy that whether women perform these rituals on a daily or weekly basis or not, they must know them and experience them. And so we all practiced during Hagbah. Then, in our first ever pre-bat mitzvah literacy program, our new Torah was used once again to teach 5th and 6th grade girls about the rituals that they are taught to revere and love. And then they too, with tremendous enthusiasm, practiced doing Hagbah. It occurs to me that the ritual of Hagbah is an apt metaphor to capture the achievements that we are celebrating here tonight. You see, the origin of Hagbah can be found in the book of Nehemiah. After the Jewish people returned from the Babylonian exile, they experienced a religious revival where Ezra read from the Torah, after which it says, Yiftach Ezra HaSefer Le'enei Kol Ha'am. Ezra opened the book in the sight of all the people. In our 10th year, Maharat and the community writ large is also experiencing a religious revival of sorts. Not so long ago, the Torah was only lifted, studied, and the laws within were only practiced by men. Women were not found in religious public spaces. Today, the Jewish revival is in no small part due to the influx of women's voices who study it, teach it, and shape it. About the ritual of Hagbah, Masechet Sofrim states that the Torah should be raised and shown in all directions. That it's a mitzvah for all the men and the women to see the writing. I look out into our community, and I'm so proud of the Torah that our 26 graduates are bringing to everyone, to men and to women, to Nashima and Nashim alike, in synagogues, in schools, in hospitals, and Jewish organizations. You are teaching a Torah that is lofty, grounded in excellence, and accessible to all people. And now, 8 more graduates are going into the world to share their Torah, your Torah. Rebecca, Jenna, Shani, Marianne, Tali, Devara, Eliza, and Miriam. Your Torah is filled with depth, demands excellence, and is filled with light. The world needs you, and I'm so grateful the Torah that is inside of you will now be shared with the many Talmidim that you inspire every day. I also look out and see our emerging scholars, graduating high school students Gabrielle Buch and Unique Krebs and Clara Sandler, who was selected from a group of 24 excellent applicants. For their dedication and commitment to Torah leadership and spiritual growth. We are proud that Maharat can lift up your Torah and support your continued growth as scholars and leaders. And I look out and I'm so grateful for the Torah of my incredible faculty, led by Rosh HaYeshiva, Rabbi Jeff Fox, the wisdom of my administrative team, led by Amanda, and the support of our board, the courage of Rabbi Sperber, and the Torah of Rav Avi that permeates everything, and to you, Rav Hefter, for bringing the Torah of Israel to our Kollel students. Thank you all for being here. And this year, our Beit Midrash has been lifted even higher with the compassionate and brilliant one-of-a-kind Torah of our new dean, of Rabbanit Devara Zlachauer. You have all lifted me and this institution and taken it to greater heights. And tonight, we give honor to one more person who has lifted Maharat up to tremendous heights. The Gemara in Megillah cites Rav Yeshua ben Levi, who says that after the Torah reading, the most distinguished member of the community is called up to receive the dual honor of Hagbah and Galila. Zelda. If the students and graduates of Maharat represent our Torah in all its diversity and spiritual depth, you, Zelda, are the Magbia. You are the person who lifts them up. Now, we know that Ashkenazim lift up the scrolls at the end of the Torah reading service, while Sephardim lift the Torah before the reading even begins. The Sephardi custom is fascinating, implying that the person doing Hagbah must have the vision and foresight to lift up the Torah before the story, before the words have even been heard. Like the Sephardi custom of lifting the Torah early, you, Zelda, had the vision and foresight before the story of Maharat had been told to elevate our students by helping them seed their positions, ensuring that money would never be the excuse that a synagogue or an institution gives to not hire women with Semikha. You recognize that communities may need help as they too are taking a risk to create positions for women in clergy. You, Zelda, understood that in order for the world to see the treasures, the gift that these women all had, you needed to elevate them and put their talents on display. You have so far helped create and subsidize positions for 12 or more graduates, many of whom are here in your honor. And you've ensured that they're paid appropriately. You knew that the funding must be time limited so that after a few years, communities would need to take on the full responsibility for supporting women in clergy positions. Because of you, Zelda, countless people have been impacted by Maharat. I've heard members say that people could no longer imagine their synagogue without female clergy because of the work you did. But you didn't just lift these women up. You have nurtured them, mentored them, visited their communities. You have celebrated their accomplishments and cried with them in their challenges. Just one of many examples, upon learning that Rabbanit Dasi would be opening the South Philadelphia Shtibel, you used your own Philadelphia connections on her behalf, even inviting her to join you as your guest at a local yeshiva high school dinner, though it was only days after the end of Shloshim for Stanley, Zichron Livracha, when you weren't sure you wanted to attend such a public event. You rose to the occasion so as not to miss the opportunity to introduce Dasi in person to potential local supporters and congregants. And Zelda, you have let us, your extended family of Maharat, lift you up as well. We have been so blessed to witness your and Stanley's fairy tale relationship. You let us in, standing next to you, as we watched him slowly leave this world, with the same grace, dignity, and kindness which he lived his life. Stanley was your greatest champion, lifting you up as you committed over the years to lift us up. The love and care that our students and your fellow board members feel for you is captured in a book of letters that have been gathered, and I will present it to you right here in just a few moments. I'm a Farshim teach that the person who lifts the Torah raises not just a scroll, but elevates all who are present. Zelda, the work you have done in our community has elevated all of us. I'm personally so grateful for your mentorship, for your ability to see what others could not, for the ways in which you have lifted not only our graduate students, board, and countless community members who have been inspired by Maharat, but how you have lifted me up as well. So friends, I want to ask everybody to please rise as I call our Magbia up to offer words of bracha that will surely lift our students up even higher as they go on their way. Ta'amud, Zelda Rachel Bat Melka Devara V'Svi Hirsch HaMagbia.
I'm going to do my own. Thank you, Rava Sarah. Thank you. A little over 10 years ago, Rabbi Sarah Hurwitz asked to meet with me to discuss funding for a yeshiva she and Rabbi Avi Weiss wanted to create. We met at my apartment where Rabbi Sarah explained their dream of creating this yeshiva. Yeshiva which would educate, ordain, and prepare Orthodox Jewish women to serve in communities throughout the world. After listening for a while, I said, I don't know if this is going to work out. Friends, this is not what a visionary and fundraiser wants to hear. No. Rabbi Sarah asked, why isn't it going to work out? So I explained. For many years, I had seen Orthodox Jewish women serving in rabbinical positions, especially in shuls. They were given designations such as congregational intern or community scholar, and they were true pioneers and trailblazers. They taught classes, gave sermons, counseled, and answered halachic questions. But there was no way for them to advance. There was no career path. These women were hired, often without their shuls and communities having been sufficiently prepared for their arrival and their work, so I give great credit to the rabbis who hired them. Their job descriptions were often ill-defined. Their salaries were poor. They lacked a cohort of peers to share experiences and Torah, to nurture each other, to lend support. They had no female mentors. Funding was insufficient. They were lonely, sometimes feeling as if they had been thrown into the lion's den. They had no rabbinical credentials, no recognized title, no Semikha. They were hired but not supported. They were often dependent on one person for their position and their salary. Over 15 years ago, I began what I called the Parsonage Project, where over a period of 8 months, I interviewed Orthodox women in leadership positions to determine if they were receiving a parsonage allowance, an important economic benefit which involves deductions for housing expenses. The interviews with these women turned into meetings of distress and dismay as woman after woman told me of her feelings of pessimism and often despair about numerous aspects of her job, not only of her inability to claim a parsonage allowance. One woman not in a shul setting was a highly talented leader of a Jewish organization who was serving in a rabbinical role. Her predecessor performed the same work as she, was a male rabbi, and he had been claiming a parsonage allowance. Because this woman did not have a title and her organization would not vouch for her, she could not claim the parsonage allowance, and she needed and deserved this financial benefit. Soon after, she left the organization and the Jewish communal world entirely, disheartened and disillusioned. And this is what I saw again and again with Orthodox Jewish women in leadership positions. Woman after woman left their shuls, their organizations, the schools in which they were teaching. And we, all of us, were losing out on their scholarship, talents, compassion, wisdom, inspiration, and leadership skills. This just about crushed my soul. So I carried this painful history with me when Rabbi Sarah asked me to be her funding partner for the yeshiva she and Rabbi Avi wanted to create. I shared with her what I had been seeing and living through for too many years. I said, if your yeshiva doesn't work out, that's it for the next generation. For why would any woman want to be a rabbi when all she has to do is look back and see that nothing worked out? Rabbi Sarah, ever the optimist, responded, but it is going to work out. So I gave some money, but to be honest, not that much. Because I was skeptical, and I was beginning to despair of ever seeing an Orthodox woman be able to answer her calling, to grow, thrive, flourish, advance, and succeed, and be well financially compensated. I held my breath for a few years. And now, here we are, 10 years later. To students, alumni, and the 8 women receiving Semikha now, you are working in and impacting dozens of Jewish organizations, such as JCRCs, JCCs, and Hillels. You teach in day schools, afternoon Hebrew schools, yeshiva high schools, universities, in yeshivot, and in adult education settings. You work in hospitals, nursing homes, group homes, prisons, shuls. You are developing your own communities in the United States and abroad. You serve on the VAD in various cities, and you are members of the International Rabbinic Fellowship. And one day you will serve, along with men, on Batei Din. To you, to you, the 8 women now graduating, because of Yeshivat Maharat, you are credentialed. You have a title, one of your choosing. You have Semikha. Now you have career choices and career paths and opportunities for advancement that those who came before you did not have. And you have each other. You are no longer alone in your journey. You support and nurture each other. You share Torah and you problem solve. You help each other craft sermons. You give input on teaching a particular topic or give suggestions on how to best work with the parents of a sick child. You cheer each other on. One colleague's success makes all of you happy. One colleague's difficulty concerns all of you. And you have us, faculty, administration, board members. You are now backed by a robust and growing institution that will be there for you long after you graduate. You are including and embracing heretofore forgotten or underserved populations, the LGBTQ community, people of color, new and changing families, those struggling with mental illness, physical disabilities, substance abuse. You collaborate with the other Jewish denominations and with people of other faiths. Dear graduates, the road you are traveling is still fraught with obstacles. I do not naively think otherwise. You will continue to meet those who will try to subvert what you are doing, tell you women cannot be rabbis, and, well, you know the rest. But keep moving forward. Keep doing what you are doing. The world is benefiting mightily from the spectacular talents you bring all of us. I have a philosophy about no, yes, and maybe. When I want to do something and someone tells me yes, it's yes. When someone tells me maybe, well, that's a yes too. And when someone tells me no, well, that is a maybe. Don't take no for an answer, ever. Make it a maybe. Keep pushing, and keep your wonderful sense of humor. Keep doing God's holy work for the sake of all of us, for the sake of a better world, the kind of world in which you and we and all future generations want to live. Yeshivat Maharat has helped fulfill your dreams, but you, all of you, have fulfilled a long-held dream of mine, that someday Orthodox women would be ordained. I did not know if I would live to see that day, but I did, and you made this happen. We are all so very lucky to be part of making history. My sweet husband, Stanley Rosenzweig, of blessed memory, always referred to God as she. A few weeks before he died, he and I were blessed to have some special visitors while he was in hospice. Rabbi Nitavor Zlotchauer, Dean of Yeshivat Maharat, and Rabbi Wendy Amsalem and Rabbi Yafa Epstein, alumni of Yeshivat Maharat, Yeshivat Maharat. As Stanley was talking about God and the feminine, a question occurred to me, and so I asked my husband, do you think Moshiach will be a woman? In his usual thoughtful way, he paused and reflected and said, will Moshiach be a woman? I don't know, but if she is, she for sure went to Yeshivat Maharat.
Becca Blady, please rise. To Achosenu atayi lalfe rivava.
Rebecca Blady has been found worthy to be a spiritual leader, to teach the Jewish people, and to decide matters of Jewish law with the degree of Toreh V'Isur V'Heter. Esther Rivka Bat Yehudit V'Tzvi Hersh HaKohen Nimtza'a Ruhuya Lihiyot Manhiga Ruchanit Lehorot Livnei V'Livnot Yisrael Al Kain Samchinan Ota B'Smicha Umuteret Livsok B'Inyanei Halacha Al Pi Toreh V'Isur V'Heter. Mazel.
I dedicate this moment to the people who believed in me, who granted me the courage and freedom to do something hard, to be a part of something crazy, to be a pioneer. Thank you for empowering me. Now it's my turn to empower others. Just a month ago, I sat at my computer in my apartment in Berlin, Germany, surrounded by members of my community who joined me to live stream the moment this Semikha cloth was signed here in New York. As my colleagues in New York were singing in celebration, my colleagues in Berlin suddenly changed the tune, and they began singing with full, empowered enthusiasm a song that we in the Berlin community love, a song whose lyrics come from the book of Eicha. Hashivenu Hashem elecha v'nashuva, Kadesh yamenu kekedem. Return us, Hashem, to you, and we will return. Renew our days as before. And just like that, the song of a Jewish community once considered old and gone and illiterate became the song of the moment. Their voices were heard all the way here in Riverdale. I stand before you today prepared to activate and mobilize the fringe, the parts of the community that the majority has written off as different, weird, or too out of the box to accommodate, to advocate for every Jewish story. We live in an era of intersectional activism. We must not let this value pass us by. The biggest risk to this entire project would be failing to advocate for others who, like us once upon a time, could not become spiritual leaders. The Midrash tells us that the words Chadesh Yamenu Kekedem ought to remind us of Adam HaRishon, specifically, the moment God drove him out and stationed him east of Eden, Mikedem Legan Eden. What we truly yearn for, as we beg God to renew ourselves, to renew our days, is a return to the first diaspora. Contained within our call for renewal is a nostalgia for the fringe itself. Maya Bernstein, my teacher here at Maharat, taught us the words of Amos Oz. We do not exist simply to preserve traditions or wonders of nature, memories of childhood or sacred objects, lest our lives become ossified. The world is not a museum, nor is nature. Culture is also not a museum. It is permitted to touch, to move closer, to remove, to move away, to alter, and to leave our stamp. Touch the rock, touch society. Thank you.
Jenna Englander, please rise. Achotenu atayi lealfe rivava.
Jenna Englander has been found worthy to be a spiritual leader, to teach the Jewish people and decide matters of Jewish law, with a degree of Torah be'isur v'heter. Chana bat Semikha v'Carol nimtza'a ro'ya liot manhiga rochanit laharat livnei lavanot Israel al kain samchinan ota b'Semikha moteret livsot ba'inei halacha al pi Torah be'isur v'heter.
In Masechet Shabbat 89a, we are presented with a scene in which the Satan is looking for the Torah. After searching the entire earth, God finally tells him to speak with Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe, says the Satan, where is the Torah that God gave to you? Moshe responds with a puzzling question. V'ki ma'ani shenatan li hakadosh baruch hu Torah. Who am I that God would give me the Torah? The same Moshe who witnessed God putting the final touches on the Torah is now saying he wasn't worthy to receive it. It is a doubt that has come into my own head many times in the course of my learning. The Torah is a special combination of overwhelming and magical, and has one constantly asking, how have I merited to be here, sitting in front of this text, part of this millennia-long conversation? How could I possibly have something valuable to contribute? The commentaries frame Satan as the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. His goal is to work his way into our hearts to make us doubt that the Torah is really ours. In our story in Masechet Shabbat, God fights back against this self-doubt. Moshe, he says, Badayata? Are you a liar? You just finished carrying the tablets down the side of Mount Sinai. I gave you the Torah. I put it in your arms. What are you saying it is not yours? Moshe stands in the presence of God and responds, Rabbonu Sha'olam, Master of the universe, you have a hidden treasure in which you delight every day. Should I take this goodness for myself? Moshe reveals a depth of understanding of the nature of Torah that goes beyond even what God could have expected. The Torah, says Moshe, is not contained in a set of stone tablets. It is a living treasure, one that changes on a daily basis, like a child who laughs and plays and grows. The Satan has not found the Torah because he does not understand what he is looking for. Receiving Torah does not happen in one moment. It is a lifetime of work. To believe it belongs to you is to misunderstand it. It requires fierce love, intellectual curiosity, patience, and most of all, a wonder at the miracle of seeing it in your arms for the briefest of moments before you release it into the world to challenge and delight others. I pray that I merit to see Torah when it is in front of me, that I may give it voice when I can, and teach others to do the same. I pray that each of us continues to receive the Torah, to see ourselves as worthy of being in its presence, and most of all, to delight in it.
Shani Gross, please rise. Achotenu, atayi le'alfei revava.
Shani Gross is referred to be a spiritual leader. She teaches Jewish people to decide matters of Jewish law with a degree of Torah b'Isur v'Heter. Shoshana Ora Patronit v'Yaakov Moshe נמצאה ראויה להיות מנהיגה רוחנית, להורות לבני ולבנות ישראל, על כן סמכינן אותה בסמיכה, ומותרת לפסוק בענייני הלכה על פי תורה באיסור והיתר. מזל טוב.
In Sefer Bereshit, Abraham charges his servant to find a wife for his son Yitzchak. The servant travels to Abraham's homeland and, watching the women drawing water from a well, devises a test. He'll ask a woman for a drink of water for only himself, but if she agrees to draw water for both him and his camels, she will be God's chosen partner for Yitzchak. Rivka, as we know, passes this test with flying colors. She draws water not only for him and his camels, but ad im kilu lishtot, until they could drink no more. But why should this have been the test? How does this show that Rivka was indeed a worthy partner for Yitzchak? To answer this question, let's examine this scene from Rivka's perspective. Carrying water for an entire family is back-breaking work. Suddenly, she is approached by a stranger who asks for a drink. If she agrees, she will likely have to add many more trips to her already difficult journey. It would be easy for Rivka to just say no. It would certainly be commendable to do what the servant asked and let him drink. It would take extraordinary character to offer water for both him and his camels. But Rivka goes beyond the extraordinary, beyond even what the servant could imagine. She says yes, and. Yes, I will draw water for both you and your camels, and I will keep drawing water until everyone has had his fill. If this is the attitude Rivka uses with a stranger, imagine how she will approach her partner Yitzchak and the type of home they might build together. Rivka Imenu invites us to ask ourselves, what might happen if we try to approach every encounter from a place of yes and? If we allow ourselves to imagine beyond the imaginable? Today's Semikha ceremony offers but one example of that type of vision. Yes, women can study and teach Torah, and they can be rabbis, and not just rabbis. They can be great rabbis, trailblazers who bring new perspectives, new sensitivities, and new skills to this most proud and honored Jewish institution. Rivka Imenu and my outstanding Rebbeim, teachers, and fellow Musmachot at Yeshivat Maharat stand for the proposition that only by imagining the impossible can we hope to discover the possible. Now, as I begin my journey as a rabbi, I hope to embrace Rivka's wisdom and that of my teachers before me to build a world where together we dare to dream of the next yes and turn the impossible into the possible. Thank you.
Over here.
Marianne Novak, please rise. Achotenu atayi la'alfei revava.
Marian Novak has been found worthy to be a spiritual leader, to teach the Jewish people and decide matters of Jewish law with a degree of Torah, Be'isur Vehete. Rina Bat Harav David Miriam Yehudit Novak Nimtza'a Ru'uya Lihiyot Manhiga Ruchanit Lahorot Livnei V'Livnot Yisrael Alken Samchinan Ota Bismicha Umuteret Livsok Binyanei Halacha Al pi Torah, Isur Vehete. Mazal tov. My great honor. God be with you on the land.
Let's come up forward.
What you are doing is revolutionary. You are so lucky to be creating something new for the Jewish people. These were some of the comments I received when I began my studies at Yeshiva. While I was very happy for the support, I was a little uncomfortable with the idea of being a revolutionary, as revolution implied turning an established entity on its head and possibly destroying a structure of the Jewish community. In the Babylonian Talmud, Tractate Megillah, page 31b, the Gemara relates a piece of wisdom that echoes my worries. Tanya Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer, it is taught in a Breita. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar said, if elders tell you to demolish something and children tell you to build, you should demolish and not build, because the destruction of the elders is really construction, building up, and the buildings of the youth are really destruction. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar is warning us that real change must come from a place of wisdom, experience, and tradition. And if it doesn't, even with the best design and intentions, it is destined to fail. My touchstones for wisdom, knowledge, and experience are my father's, Rabbi David Novak's, books. I use them for research. The footnotes alone are pure gold. And to get a holistic theological approach to halakha and Jewish tradition. In 1984, at the beginning of my senior year of high school, my father asked me to help him to assist him in creating the index for his fifth book, Halakha and a Theological Dimension. Together, we manually wrote down all the entries while camped out on the basement ping pong table in our home in Bayswater, Far Rockaway. This very book contains, ironically, a chapter entitled Women in the Rabbinate, with a question mark. This section was written during a tumultuous time in the conservative movement, when my father and his fellow traditionalists, with their understanding of an authentic halakhic process, voted against women's ordination. Additionally, my father was somewhat alarmed by the feminism at that time, which seemed to embody a nihilistic tone that not only didn't want to work from within the halakhic system, but also seemed to want to destroy traditional Judaism altogether. But at the end of his chapter, my father quite presciently suggests that if women who desire to become rabbis, quote, choose the harder road of learning and reverence, Torah v'yirah, then I, for one, am willing to say that this traditionalist is willing to become their student. Through this yeshiva, we were and are doing the work, the Torah v'yirah, that is l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven. That is not to say, however, that many times my work hasn't been very challenging, especially when coming up against those who felt threatened by all women simply teaching Torah. And during those times of exasperation, it was so tempting to completely burn the house down and start over. But when so many want to destroy Torah from without, we can't be complicit in that project, no matter how good and seemingly pure our motives might be, as Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar warned. We must resist the urge to completely destroy. For destruction we can be sure of, but rebuilding, sadly, we cannot. We, my incredible cohort and I, have created and continue to create new palaces of Torah with the building blocks of our wise foremothers and forefathers, including my father, who, true to his word and incredible foresight, is here tonight to learn from our Torah.
Tali Schaum-Broder, please rise. Achotenu, at hayi le'alfei revava.
Tali Schaum-Broder has been found worthy to be a spiritual leader, to teach the Jewish people and decide matters of Jewish law with the degree of Torah, the Isur v'Heter. Avital Te'era Leah Bat Harav Moshe Yisrael Verena Rizal Nimtza'a Ru'uya Lihiyot Manhiga Ruchanit Lahorot Livnei V'Livnot Yisrael Al Ken Samchinan Ota B'Smicha Umuteret Livsok V'Inyanei Halacha Al Pi Torah, the Isur v'Heter.
The Talmud in Brachot, page 34b, states, Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Leolam yitpalel Adam b'bayit sheyesh bo chalonot, shne'amar chavin ptichan le. Rabbi Chia bar Abba says, a person should always pray in a home that has windows, quoting the verse in Daniel that says his windows were open, facing Jerusalem. The Shulchan Aruch codifies this into law and learns from here that just like a home, the Beit Knesset needs to have windows also. The Beit Knesset, like a home, is a refuge, a sanctuary. It is a place of prayer, intimacy, and of relationship, a place of introspection and reflection. And yet, we are told that in our most intimate spaces, we are to look out, to see the sky and be reminded of God's miraculous world and all that is contained therein, to look out and to see the other, those who are on the outside, and to bring them in, to look out and see a vision of Jerusalem, to dream of what the world can look like, and to yearn for its redemption. The home that gave me my foundation, my family's home here in Riverdale, was a home steeped in Torah, a home of deep and loving relationships and quiet spirituality that also looked outward and brought others in to share Torah, loving kindness, and powerful prayer, always, always yearning for Jerusalem. And it was here, within this other Bayit, this Beit Knesset, my second home, in this sanctuary with its large glass windows, that I saw a rabbi and community with the values of reaching out to others in compassion, to our fellow Jews, and to all inhabitants of this world, looking outward towards heaven, towards the Jewish community, towards Medinat Yisrael, and Kol Yoshvei Tevel. In this Beit Knesset, the question, am I my brother's keeper, was answered with a resounding yes. On a more personal level, these very windows have witnessed my growth from a toddler singing in the sukkah to a 6-year-old benching hagomel after falling from a ledge outside, to becoming a bat mitzvah, my first public Dvar Torah, to leaving on Aliyah, and now to becoming a rabbinic intern and receiving my Semikha. The Torah of my Bayit and this Bayit has become part of me. The Torah of yearning, of compassion, of deep spirituality, of rootedness, of a holistic Yiddishkeit. And so it feels fitting that it is in this space that I am charged with bringing this Torah outward. It says in the Gemara in Menachot that the windows for the Beit HaMikdash, the ultimate Bayit, were constructed to be narrow within and broad without. Rashi comments that it was designed as such in order to take the holiness and light from within and to radiate it klapei chutz, outwards. May Hashem give me and all of us the strength and the wisdom to spread the light of Torah from within us out into the world. Thank you.
One 100 years ago, on May 21st, 1919, the proposed amendment passed the House. And on June 4th, just 3 weeks later, The Senate voted in support. Several months later, in August of 1920, the Tennessee legislature ratified the 19th Amendment, prohibiting the states and the federal government from denying the right to vote based on sex. The Tennessee legislature was deadlocked, 48 to 48, when Harry Byrne walked in with his red rose signifying his opposition. However, just as they were calling the vote, he discovered a note from his mom, Phoebe Ensminger Byrne, tucked inside his jacket pocket. In it, she prodded him. "Harry, be a good boy and vote for ratification." It was his vote that tipped the legislature and ultimately passed the 19th Amendment. How does change happen? Sometimes we rabbis like to imagine that change comes from a great psak or a tshuva or an article or a shir or some grand gesture. However, most of the time, change happens not only from the Susan B. Anthonys of the world, but with the help of a private letter from a mother to her son tucked inside his jacket pocket. The Gemara actually tells us the secret of how to move the community forward, ever so gently, playing with the first phrase of the second paragraph of the Shema, V'haya im shamoa tishma'u, picking up on the double language, im shamoa tishma'u, if you certainly or carefully listen. The rabbis teach us, im shamoa bayashan, if you listen carefully to the old, tishma bachadash, you will come to understand the new. Allow me to interpret this phrase a bit creatively. Im shamoa bayashan, if you listen carefully to the tradition, listen to our Masorah. Tishma bachadash, you will come to understand anew, and perhaps even create anew. Tonight, we celebrate 8 amazing individuals who bring quiet change through their ability to listen to the tradition and hear voices that were not so prominent in the past. Rebecca Blady. Blady, your neshama brings people together and grounds the Torah of your family by connecting you horizontally to the people in the room and vertically to the presence of Kadosh Baruch Hu. Simply setting up shop in Berlin without making any radical public declarations, you subtly change the rabbinic landscape for a community that is spiritually hungry for your Torah. I have no doubt that your Zaidi is smiling down on the amazing work that you, together with Jeremy and Hindi, have already begun. Rebecca Blady, im shamoa bayashan, tishma bachadash. Jenna Englander. Your religious journey is a model for how people can chart a course, work hard, and reach their goals. You have a built-in spiritual GPS that keeps your moral compass pointed in just the right direction. Jenna, you understand what it means to be both a part of a broader community and a leader within your chevra. You, Rav Sam and Maya, have so much to offer the great city of Detroit. May you continue to be blessed to show us all the right path. Jenna Englander, im shamoa bayashan, tishma bachadash. Shani Gross, you are a natural leader and bring joy to all that you do. Pardes is so lucky to have you, and I have no doubt that your current and future students will grow in ways that you can't even imagine. They will also impact you in ways that you might find surprising. You understand that the process is often as important as the product, respecting all the voices in the room and making sure everyone has a seat at the table. As you, together with Chaim, Ilan, and Avon, make your way back to the West Coast, We all know that the Bay Area's gain is Riverdale and Maharat's loss. Shani Gross, Im Shamoa Bayashan, Tishma Bachadash. Marianne Novak. You understand what it means to be there for your community, for your family, and for yourself. Over these 4 years, you pushed us to be our best selves in different ways because you wanted to learn more Torah. This past year in Teaneck, you simply showed up and taught and modeled what it means to be a professional. You did not need or frankly want to be in the Jewish standard because you understand that change happens one sermon, one shiur, one Dvar Torah at a time. You hear the voices in our tradition that others sometimes want to ignore, and you make us all listen. Mary Ann Novak, Im Shamoa Bayashan, Tishma Bachadash. Tali Shaum Broder, you have been the anchor of our Beit Midrash these past years. There's never a Sfas Emes far from your reach. You have the unique ability to be present for people in the hospital, in quiet conversations, and in great shiurim. Never demanding for yourself, but always advocating for others who might be in need. The Bayit is your spiritual home, even as your heart yearns for Eretz Yisrael. There is no doubt that the patients in the hospital will benefit from your quiet ability to bring life to our Masorah, even in the darkest of times. Hali Sham Broder, Im Shamoa Bayashan, Tishma Bachadash. We are blessed this year to also be graduating 3 members of our Advanced Kollel Executive Ordination track. These are women who have been learning and teaching Torah for many years. They'll be receiving their klafim in just a few moments. Dr. Dvorah Schoenfeld, you teach and live a Torah that never stops asking questions and never stops growing. Your ability to teach non-Jews about the Jewish community and the Jewish world about Christianity is quite unique. You are almost never the first person to speak up in shiur, but after you ask a question, the direction of class always changes. You do everything with careful, thought-out intention, especially the way you have built your family, an inspiration to us all. Your students at Loyola and in the Chicago Jewish community are fortunate to have such a grounded and gifted teacher. You tease out the voices in our tradition that have been silenced for many years. Dr. Dvorah Schoenfeld, Im Shamoa Bachadash, Tishma Bayashan. Eliza Sperling, you are a natural educator and an inspirational parent. You mine the text of our tradition to answer new questions that have never even been asked before. You search for serious, deep, and honest Torah. You bring to the Kollel an appreciation of order and seder. You can already appreciate the way in which halacha is made with building blocks, one stacked on the other, bringing more nuanced and complex understanding with each step you take. Your rigorous commitment to hearing different voices will lift up the many who have had no champion. Eliza Sperling, Im Shamoa Bachadash, Tishma Bayashan. Dr. Miriam Udell, you always seem to have just the right words. Your poetry, together with your scholarship, enlivens every classroom that you are a part of, whether as professor or as student. Your deep human insight into the emotional needs of those around you serves you as you mentor so many. The Yiddish that you bring to life as part of our Masorah, or perhaps our Masorah, that you mine for a special kind of Torah. The tender came back to pick you up, and you jumped aboard with 2 feet. Dr. Miriam Udell, Im Shamoa Bayashan, Tishma Bachadash. Dear Musmachot, may you be blessed to find your voice, your contribution, your humble letter tucked into the pocket of just the right person. Mazal Tov and congratulations to the Maharat Musmachot of 2019. now call up Rabbi Herzl Hefter, who teaches the Kollel, to move us through the final 3 musmachot.
Dr. Dvorah Schoenfeld, please step forward. Achotenu at tihi alfei revava.
Dr. Dvorah Schoenfeld has been found worthy to be a spiritual leader, to teach the Jewish people and decide matters of Jewish law with the degree of Torah v'Isur v'Heter. Dvorah Ruth bat Rivka Yehudit v'Shimon Leib, nimtza'a rehuya lihiyot manhiga ruchanit, lahorot livnei ulivnot Yisrael, al kain samchinan ota b'smicha, umuteret lifsok b'inyanei halacha, al pi Torah v'Isur v'Heter.
When I was 10 years old, while studying for the Chidon Tanakh, I read Sefer Bamidbar for the first time, and then over and over and over and over. It exposed me to many halachot, some unfamiliar, some confusing, but with one consistent message throughout that ended up guiding the rest of my life. God cares what we do. We learn to serve God through the details of practices embodied in our lives. When a non-Jew asked Hillel to teach him all of Torah on one foot, Hillel replied, "What is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor. Now go study." In these few words, we see some of the most important lessons of Torah. God cares what we do. How we treat each other matters. And the work of figuring out what that means requires true self-understanding, deep respect for the other, and authentic knowledge of Torah that can only be found when you study. On Shavuot, when we receive the revelation of the Torah, we also read Megillat Ruth, which is a story of how it looks when the details of practices described in the Torah become ways to show chesed, love and kindness for each other. Ruth, as a migrant foreigner, is welcomed kindly to glean in Boaz's fields, fulfilling mitzvot from Vayikra and from Devarim. When Ruth willingly chooses Boaz, their relationship, which in some ways is a form of the mitzvah of Yibum, becomes what he describes as an act of chesed, not just from him to her, but from her to him. There is a kind of redemption in this book, but it is practical and concrete. The redemption of land, which we are asked in Vayikra to do for any family that loses their land. At the center of all of this embodied kindness is the complex, multifaceted relationship between Ruth and Naomi. And this relationship is, among other things, a relationship between teacher and student. Gemara Yevamot describes Naomi in the role of a rabbi teaching Ruth for conversion, instructing her in the 613 mitzvot which Ruth eagerly accepts from her teacher. In the rest of Ruth's story, we see the chesed with which she lives the Torah that Naomi taught her. Naomi, like Hillel, found a way to teach Torah in which care for the other and details of practice are all bound together. It is my honor to stand in the tradition of Naomi and of Hillel, of those who teach Torah inside the Jewish world and out of it, to Jews and to non-Jews, and to people still seeking their path. It is my honor to be among those who teach the Torah of love expressed through constant practice. Blessed is God who has brought me to this time.
Lisa Sperling, please rise. אחותנו, את היי לאלפי רבבה.
Aliza Sperling has been found worthy to be a spiritual leader, to teach the Jewish people and decide matters of Jewish law with a degree of Torah, Beisur והיתר. עליזה יהודית בת משה זליג ומלכה אסתר נמצאה ראויה להיות מנהיגה רוחנית להורות לבני ולבנות ישראל, על כן סמכינן אותה בסמיכה ומותרת לפסוק בענייני הלכה על פי תורה באיסור והיתר. מזל טוב.
Our forefather Yaakov has just left his home. He is alone and afraid. As the day grows darker, he sets up camp for the night, falls asleep, and has a dream. He sees a ladder with its base in the ground and its top ascending to the heavens. And behold, there are angels of God ascending and descending the ladder. And there is God before him, offering him a message of protection. The Gemara in Chulin 91b explains what the angels are doing. Olim umistaklim b'du kanosh al mala, v'yordim umistaklim b'du kanosh al mata. The angels go up the ladder to see the image of Yaakov as it is engraved on God's throne of glory, and then descend to earth to see Yaakov as he is now. In heaven, they see the image of a perfect, holy Yaakov. Then they come down the ladder, and they see Yaakov as he is at this moment, someone who has just deceived his father and brother, stolen the blessing, and arrived at a mountain of God without even sensing its holiness. Bereshit Rabbah comments, up above they found his picture engraved as Israel glorifying God. They came down and found him fast asleep. The angels are so bothered by the difference between what Yaakov could be and what he is that they wish to harm him. But God protects the sleeping Yaakov. As Rav Hirsch comments, God says, you are angels. You only see what is in front of you. But I am Yud-He Vav-He, the God who is beyond time. I was, I am, and I will be. I see the Yaakov who is lying there, but I also see in the person sleeping below who he can be in the future. Many of the women here have had dreams that seemed all but impossible. We wanted to be Talmidot Chachamim, wise and deeply learned. We saw the opportunities that were available to men to advance their Torah learning, and we cried over the chasm between where we were and where we wanted to be. And then we experienced the power of Yud He Vav He in our own lives, the God who sees beyond where we are to where we will be and helps us reach our potential. We merited to live in a time when passionate, committed leaders started building institutions of higher learning for women, like Maharat, so that we could begin to access the Torah scholarship we had dreamed of. Throughout my life, I have also tried to build ladders, to teach and provide opportunities for others to experience the great joy of Torah learning. Their obstacles may be that they did not grow up studying Torah, or that they were taught in a way that felt destructive or dismissive of who they were, or that they had physical differences, or that as girls and women, there were no structures in place for them to advance in their studies. I am grateful to build ladders for them as others have built ladders for me. Baruch Shechayanu v'kiyamanu v'gianu lazman hazeh. Thank you.
Dr. Miriam Udell, please rise. Achotenu at hei le'alfei revava.
Dr. Miriam Udell has been found worthy to be a spiritual leader, to teach the Jewish people and decide matters of Jewish law with a degree of Torah ve'isur ve'heter. Miriam bat Eliyahu v'chana Rina, nimtza'a ru'ya lehayot menhiga ruchanit, l'harat livnei u'levanot Yisrael, al kein samchinan ota b'smicha, moteret livsok be'enei halacha, al pi Torah ve'isur ve'heter.
Knetsch back und stell Farb. Literally, pinch your cheek and put in some color. That's Yiddish for woman up. In the Midrash on Parshat Behalotecha, the sages insist that Moshe is flummoxed by God's instructions for crafting the menorah, even though the Holy One uses the demonstrative word zeh, which the rabbis read as pointing at a picture, like some supernal Google image. Yet after several failed attempts, when Moshe is thoroughly frustrated, Betzalel, effortlessly, it seems, crafts the perfect vessel. An incredulous Moshe marvels, Betzalel, you must have been standing in the shadow of God. Betzalel, when the Holy One showed me how to make it. I imagine Moshe's timahon, his surprise, signaling a sense of encouragement at what was possible, of audacious hope. While God has been whispering in my ear, pointing visions I still don't understand quite how to fulfill, you, the women of Maharat, have stood in the divine shadow, intuiting the rest. We have each played the Betzalel to our sisters in learning. It is wondrous to witness our complementary strengths and capacities, to see the divine will carried out by fallible people in an imperfect world through our collaboration. Whether for quandaries, halachic, pastoral, or interpretive, somebody in our sacred and beloved community steps forth to discern and execute the zeh of the Holy Word, and to pinch a cheek, to knetsch bak und stell farb. Now, Yiddish is parsimonious with personal pronouns, and it presumes that unless otherwise specified, we keep our hands to ourselves. So the proverbial cheek we're being told to pinch is our own. But that isn't spelled out, and the absence of pronouns opens up an interpretive loophole, and you know what we do with those around here. Namely, that sometimes the cheek in need of pinching may belong to another. Maharat is a place of actual hugs and metaphorical knetches. We bolster each other's courage, dismantling imposter syndrome one conversation at a time. This encouragement is itself a sacred task. After all, shame is pallor. To humiliate others is to be malbin panim, to drain the color, the lifeblood from their faces. When we pinch each other's cheeks, we refuse shame and claim the honor of the Torah that we learn and teach. Seeing the current and future musmachot, including those whose bat mitzvah might still be ahead of them, gazing out at all of you who have shown up tonight to encourage us in our work, I feel the enlivening rush of blood to my cheeks. I feel sanguine on behalf of the Jewish people, for I know that together we can craft the holy vessels that our community so desperately needs. Thank you.
ברשות הרבנים והרבניות, I'm consistently not on the list of the speakers. And consistently, I insist that I speak. I have a word for this wonderful cohort of extraordinary women. In this week's Parsha, we hear about the inauguration of the Levi'im, and there's a verse that says something peculiar. It says that Netunim, Netunim, dedicated, dedicated, twice. And the Mefarshim explain it, that there are two levels of dedication. There's a dedication to your status, which means really to yourself, and there's a dedication la'am, to your community. You two have two levels of dedication. You have a dedication to your status, which means that you have to continue. You've only begun the journey of learning, of deepening your understanding of Torah and Halakha, and your understanding of human relationships. And you have another area of dedication, which is to the community in which you are, and to the larger community, which is the community of Am Yisrael, because you are a formative part of a formative element which is changing the nature of the relationship between Jewish leadership and the Jewish community. There are two things that you should not fear. Lo taguru mipnei ish. If you feel that you're right, that you have the correct direction, the correct answer, fear no one. Avi Weiss said it. You're not necessarily going to be popular. You have to be correct. And the other thing is never fear to say you don't know the answer. You need time to reflect. You need time to consult others. If you keep these things in mind, you will be a blessing to Am Yisrael. Shalom v'chol tov.
Birshut, Rabbi Sarah, the great Rabbi Sarah. Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Maharat, Rabbi Jeffrey Fox. How blessed we are with Dean Devorah's Latschauer. Yedidi, Rav Daniel, Rav Herzl. I want to note the presence of my Rebbe Chaver, the Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Chovevei Torah. Rabbi Dov Linzer is here. And the president of the International Rabbinic Fellowship, Rabbi Natty Helfgott. And my rabbi, the rabbi of the Bayit, the Mora Da'atra, Rabbi Stephen Exler. Yitz and Blue. Everyone. This is a tricky mic, so I'm not sure I'm getting it right. Do the best I can. At moments of greatest joy, we break a glass. And so, even as we celebrate this Chag HaSemikha, we remember Congregation Tree of Life in Pittsburgh. We remember the Chabad in San Diego. We remember Ari Fold, Zichrono Livracha, who did not go down fighting, but went up al Kiddush Hashem. We remember our Muslim brethren in New Zealand and Christian brethren in Sri Lanka, and resolve, in solidarity with Medinat Yisrael and Tzva Haganah Yisrael, to do all we can to fix the broken pieces. This is a moment when I believe we all feel so uplifted, a moment when we can experience that added word we recite during the Yamim Noraim, a moment that is not only le'ela, but le'ela u'le'ela. Higher and higher, le'ela u'le'ela, mikol birichata v'shirata, le'ela u'le'ela, mikol birichata v'shirata. This is our 7th Chag HaSmicha. 7 is Shabbat, the holiest of times. On this evening, it feels as if we've been transported above time. And 7 is the 7 species, the Shivat Haminim of our homeland, the land of Israel, the holiest of places. On this evening, it feels as if this space, the walls of this sanctuary, are singing. And when these two sanctities of time and place mesh, their light has no end. It continues on and on, higher and higher, le'ela u'le'ela. Let no one think that this transcendent spiritual light is easy to reach. With Maharat's success has come great and painful pushback that I feel in a very deep way. And so to each of our courageous musmachot, women who this evening have been ordained, have received smicha, and become rabbis, we say, thank you. Not a perfunctory thank you, but todah from the word modah, an admission we could not have done it without you. For inspiring this dreamlike moment, I declare, we all declare, thank you, thank you, thank you. On a very personal level, this Chag HaSmicha has special meaning. This evening, my sister Tova, who was one of my great inspirations, and her husband, Dr. Walter Reich, and my brother Mordechai, Rav Mordechai, and his wife Debbie, dedicated my Abba's Sefer Torah to Yeshivat Maharat. My father was raised in Oshvenchen, the city that became Auschwitz. And he purchased the Torah from a Polish Gentile woman when he visited Poland in the late 50s. The Torah had been buried underground. The Torah is unusual, as it is made up of 3 sections which come from 3 different Sifrei Torah patched together. Each section was the only kosher part of the original Torah. In a word, my father's Torah saved 3 Torahs, giving them new life. In no small measure, this is what the rabbinate is all about. It's about being there for our people. It's about women who have become rabbis, who will be there not only for women, but be there for men as well, for all of Am Yisrael, for Kol Yoshvei Tevel, especially the most vulnerable, those in distress and need, those who need uplifting, who need help in turning their fate into a new destiny. And the Torah, like all Torahs, is written, as the rabbis say, Eish shachor al gabe eish lavan, black fire on white fire. The black fire are the letters of the Torah, representing its unlimited cognitive aspects. The white fire, the white fire, the white fire are the spaces between the letters, representing its soul, its neshama. Black fire without white fire is like body without soul. Rebecca, Jenna, Shoshana, Marion, Tali, Devorah, Aliza, and Miriam. From the depths of my heart, I tell you, with great emotion, you are the living Torah. Each of you is a Talmidah Chachama. You are blessed with great Torah knowledge. And in the spirit of Yeshivat Maharat, your Chachma is expansive, as it is coupled with the white fire of deep, empathetic soul, caring and being there for others. I know this on a personal level. I would argue, and I believe that every person in this space knows this on a personal level, because every time anyone has learned with you or interacted with you, they, he or she, I feel uplifted and blessed. Can you hear the melody? Can you hear the song? The walls are singing. And the walls are singing not confined to time, but in the spirit of Imitatio Dei, the walls are singing above time. Milev elev, from heart to heart, I ask that everyone rise as together we offer the bracha, that as you become rabbis, while always being open and remaining humble as you are, and seeking help from others when necessary, I bless you. Do it your way. Yeshivat Maharat is not about controlling our musmachot, but empowering our musmachot. Do it your way. Reach beyond your grasp. Le'ela u'le'ela. Higher and higher. And go out there. Go out there. Go out throughout North America, Medinat Israel, and the entire world. Go out there. It's your time. It's your time. And with your God-given strength, go out there and impact Am Yisrael and change the world. Impact Am Yisrael and change the world. Ivdu et Hashem b'sim, Ivdu et Hashem bo lefanav birnana lefanav bir. Join me, everyone. Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha bo lefanav birnana lefanav birnana. Hey la 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 la. La 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 la.